I'm about to show you how this value-based email marketing strategy can boost your ecom brand's profits and make each customer a lot more valuable than they currently are. Now, if you're watching this right now, you're probably an e-commerce brand owner, operator, marketer, CMO, anything like that, and you're just trying to make each customer more valuable to the brand as a whole. And on top of that, you want to boost profits and you want to milk as much money as you can from your email list on a consistent basis. Like, you don't want it to just die off. You want to keep milking out that revenue every month and every year and get as much profit as you can out of that list, not just revenue. And that's what we're going to be talking about right here. And of course, the main focus here is going to be multiplying how much each customer is worth to your brand. So their lifetime value, that's what we're focused on. All right, so main things we're going to talk about today, the core benefits of this strategy. We're going to be talking about what you'll start to notice or see while incorporating this strategy. And then after that, we're going to talk about the main components of it. And then we're going to get more into the nitty-gritty and do a quick breakdown of each component, and most importantly, how you can implement them for your brand. All right, so the first core benefit of this strategy we've pretty much already talked about, but it's boosting the lifetime value of your customers. And the reason this is so important in e-commerce right now is because a ton of brand owners that I see and talk to are really focused on scaling up the ads, which is amazing because that scales the brand. Of course, we have to do that. But you have a cost associated with each person that you acquire as a buyer through your ads. And so because of that, that cost comes out of your profit margin. So every purchase that we can get that person to make afterwards through your email and your SMS marketing, that increases that customer's lifetime value to you and your brand, thus making the ads more profitable and significantly increases the profitability of the brand. So that's the next thing, is that this boosts the profitability of your brand. Then the next part is that this keeps people on your email list a lot longer. And the reason for that is because we want them to get people to buy more times throughout their lifetime on your email list. All right, so the first thing you're going to start to notice with this strategy is that over time, the brand will start to become a little bit more profitable. So like, this is one example of a client that we were working with them a little under 2 months. It was like, I believe it was like 50 days, just about. And so you can see right here, this was a Slack message from them. You can read that. Yes, we are so thrilled right now. For the first time all year, I'm seeing the bank account begin to have a comfortable margin. So this was a client that they were really struggling with profitability. They came to us and that was their biggest concern. And so we implemented this strategy for them, and that ended up being the result in a pretty small time frame, under 2 months. So I was pretty happy with that. Now, the other really big thing you're going to start to notice, especially if you have like a customer service rep in the inbox that gets replies from these emails, is that you'll start to see people sending positive feedback on the emails. Now, this is really big for us because it positively reinforces the actual angles or topics that we're using in the content, and it tells us that we're doing a good job of it. So we want to keep iterating on those ones. So for example, whether you work with us or you're working with some other marketer on your email squad, encourage the customer service reps to send feedback like this that you get in the replies back to your email marketer, because that stuff is extremely valuable to the people, you know, creating that content. So that's what we always encourage customer service reps to do. So the main components of this are pretty simple. It comes down to giving valuable content in your campaign emails while still selling at the same time. And that's a really important point because you can't go all the way one way or the other. It's kind of like the fight between branding and direct response. If you're super branded, you know, you're not really selling at all. If you're super direct response, all you're doing is selling. This is kind of like that fine balance in the middle where it allows you to still aggressively market and sell, but you still want to give valuable stuff that people are going to enjoy seeing in their inbox. All right, so the next part of this is growing the list as fast as possible. And this kind of goes for any email marketing strategy, but we want to have the list growing as fast as possible with anybody engaging with the brand. Anyone that's showing interest, we want them on the list. That way we can market to them there and find out if they're actually going to turn into a buyer or not. All right, then a really big piece of this that kind of ties into that first component is not turning your customers away with really boring or extremely salesy content. And I'm going to show you a really, really good example of that. This is an email that I got in my inbox from a brand called Paragon. Now, you can see right here, first of all, that they used a first name tag incorrectly here. Now, that's just a big error when it comes to email marketing, but that already just completely throws me off. And keep in mind, 90% of brands are just doing like lazy email marketing like this, and it's an issue. Now, here's the thing. You come in this email, and this is what you see. You get a brand logo, you get some collection, you get some categories here. You get this nice GIF with a button, and that's it. There's a generic footer here. That's all you're getting by clicking into this brand's email. Now let me ask you a question. What would you do in this scenario? Would you come back to this brand's emails the next time they send to you? Or would you just kind of assume that they're just gonna throw random GIFs in there with a button telling you to go buy their stuff? My guess is probably the latter, that you would just assume that they're gonna send you stuff like this from now on, and you're probably not gonna wanna open their emails anymore. That's exactly what we want to avoid with this strategy. So what we're gonna do here, just so I can give you an example, is assume that you are a supplement brand, and we're running this strategy for you. So we're gonna go with 3 emails per week. Now, we've kind of found that 3 emails per week is kind of like a sweet spot in terms of email marketing. Sometimes you can stretch it out to 4, but typically 3 emails per week is where most brands will sit pretty well in terms of not getting too many unsubscribes, but still selling to your list as much as you can. And then in terms of segmentation, we're gonna primarily send to engaged portions of the list with an occasional non-buyer only email. Now what this does is that with that engaged portion of the list, we're getting the buyers, the one-time buyers, the repeat buyers, we're getting the non-buyers as well that are also engaged, the people that are actually like showing interest in our email marketing content. We're gonna be targeting those people, and then occasionally we want to just hit the non-buyers, and that's where we're going like a lot heavier on the direct response portion of the strategy. And then what I want to do here is give you guys a few examples of the actual content that we might put in these 3 emails per week. So we got 3 examples here. First email, we're going to talk about how to dominate your mornings. Now, imagine this is a supplement brand, probably selling a supplement that helps them wake up more fresh. So maybe it could even be a sleep product. Then the second one, we're going to go into the best inflammation fighters. So then this is going to be a supplement that specifically helps with inflammation. We're going to tie it into this email. And then this one right here, we're just going to go with a non-buyers email. So that's going to be more direct response based. First off, let's just say you got your logo right here at the top. You're always going to want to keep that at the top. Now, next thing is that you never want to have any categories right here. Always get rid of those because they just distract the person from the actual message of the email. Instead, move those down to the footer. Now, in header sections, you want to be pretty consistent with just keeping it focused on the actual content of the email, giving it some tease. And then ideally, if it makes sense to do so, you want to have a call to action right there in the header section. So we're going to go with a headline right there at the top, and then there's going to be a lifestyle image of someone waking up in the morning, probably with like some sun on them or something like that. And then right below that, you want to go with a nice CTA. Now, keep in mind for this opening CTA, since this is typically going to be a value-based email, we don't want that CTA to be like shop now, because it won't make sense and it won't be relevant. It's more ideal in this scenario for that CTA to be something like, fix your mornings. And then that CTA will go to the product. That way we just put that button out there for people to click on in case the headline immediately grabs their attention and they just want to see what's coming next in that product page. But in most cases, a shop now or like learn more button, learn more can make sense, but typically like shop now won't really make sense in this scenario. All right, now this is where you go into the actual values. So this is where we're going to go with probably like just a basic subheader. And then the focus of the subheader is going to be focused on teasing the benefit of the actual mechanism that you're explaining here. So in this example, we're talking about dominating your mornings. So this subheader should tease that benefit of actually coming out with a great morning. And then typically from here, it's pretty straightforward. We just want like horizontal sections that give the viewer like a good, clear explanation of whatever it is that you're describing, while still making it like easy to digest. That's a really big piece of this, is that you want your angles to be easy to digest, but still clear and like dense in terms of the actual idea that you're describing. And then it comes into the point where you want to actually tie in your product. So one way you might do that is, this is a certain like tip or benefit in terms of dominating the morning. This is the second one. And then this third one is the actual product itself. That's one way you could do it. The other way you could do this, if you want to make it a little bit longer format, is you could actually keep this part super value based and then go into the product under that. So in this scenario, that whole section might just be a subheader specific to the product. You might have like an image here about the actual product with some body copy. And then from there, you're going to go into your CTA for the actual product itself. Now, keep in mind that this is a little bit longer of a format, and typically we don't like to make it too long when it comes to a design email, because remember, we still want to get sales from these things. We just want to make sure we're providing enough value in this middle section, in the headline section, whatever it is, so that they still feel like they came out with something that was helpful to them. In this one, let's say we switch things up a little bit. Maybe we go with one information fighter versus the other right here in the header section, along with a headline that actually is relevant to it. In this scenario with the inflammation fighters, you might actually have like two ingredients here. So this might be two ingredients, one that really helps with inflammation and is actually found in your supplement, and another one that is known to help with inflammation, but it's not actually that big of a contributor. So in this case, what you want to do in the subheader, instead of teasing the benefit, we're actually just going to tie in that ingredient into our supplement because it's a main ingredient in that supplement. Keep in mind, we'd probably want to have a CTA here as well. And then in this case, you actually go a little bit deeper into why that ingredient specifically is so valuable to fighting inflammation. And of course, throughout this, the bottle is right there, the actual supplement that you're selling. Now, what I want to do for this non-buyers version is actually give you a little bit of a different perspective. And let's say you're going more plain text in this scenario. The nice part is that with really good copy, you can sell more because you're using the actual words to convince them rather than just images. And in a scenario for like a supplement brand, for example, copy is going to convince someone to buy that, not just an image of the bottle for that example specifically. So let's say we want to start out this plain text email by bringing up a specific pain point that someone might have. Let's go back to the inflammation example. Maybe you bring up the fact that they can't really go outside with their kids quite as much because, you know, their joints are just acting up. And then you might just connect that pain point to the fact that it's not actually their fault. It's actually this other reason that they probably don't even know about, and it's just creeping into their daily life and causing this inflammation issue that they're having. And then we transition to actually explaining our solution for that alternative reason that they're experiencing this inflammation, like the actual mechanism to how you solve that problem with your product without actually announcing the product yet. So then the big CTA here is that we're gonna tease our product as a delivery of that solution we just explained. So this is just like a basic plain text format that I just kind of walked through with you. But the key part to this is that we're teasing the product. We're not like coming out saying a whole sales pitch for it, assuming that you're sending them to a landing page or a product page that's very informative. If not, then you're gonna have to do more selling in this email itself. But now, just to zoom out a little bit, the whole purpose of that is to show you that you can give value in this way, you can give value in this way, a little bit different, or sometimes you could sell heavily to these non-buyers. The whole purpose of this entire strategy is to mix all those things together in a really strategic way so that you're keeping people on the list by giving the majority of the list a really valuable piece of content that they're going to enjoy reading and come back to the next time that they see an email from you in their inbox. And then at the same time, while delivering that value, we can sell to them and make sure that they're still buying our product. Even while doing that, we can go way more direct response with it, with a format like that, specifically for the non-buyers. Now, hopefully you found this valuable. If you did, drop a comment and let me know specifically what your thoughts were. I would love to hear that. And if you need an email marketer to come onto your team, crush it for you guys, and actually deliver consistent content like this that follows this exact strategy that I went through with you today, my team and I work with a lot of e-commerce brands. We would love to come in, do a free audit of your entire setup, and essentially just find out where we can provide the most value and how quickly we can unlock that new revenue for you. So I'm gonna leave the first link in the description so that you can click on there, learn a little bit more about us, our case studies, what we've done, and specifically what we can do for you. And I'd be happy to come in, have a quick conversation with you just about what you guys have going on right now, how we can come in and help out with that, and how we can provide the most value to you and the brand. All right, drop a like if you got some value from this, and subscribe to the channel, and I hope to talk to you soon.